Hi, good morning. I'd like to call the Public Works Committee meeting to order. And if, there was some discussion last month about our Sullivan County Airport. Do we need it? How much does it cost to maintain it? And I asked Ed to put together a presentation. But before I do that, I want to say good morning and welcome to one of our past legislators, Ron Hyatt. Ron, it's nice to see you here.
Nice to see you.
We miss you.
I'm glad I can leave immediately after the meeting.
Don't say that. Where's your Dunkin' Donuts coffee?
I forgot it.
Okay, roll call, Emery.
Mrs. Labuda.
Here.
Mr. Ruiz.
Here.
Mrs. Geiger.
Here.
Mrs. Edwards.
Here.
Mr. Steingart.
Here.
Ms. Vedder.
Here.
Mr. Samuelson.
Here.
Okay, Ed, good morning, if you'd like to get
Morning.
started.
Okay. We put together a PowerPoint on the airport. I have Mike Mullen also here, our airport superintendent, who helped me put that together.
Can everybody
If
see
you have
that? Excuse me,
questions.
before I put the lights down. Can you turn those lights down a little bit back there? Thank you.
All right, so this is a picture of out at the airport. We show on the left the general aviation aircraft that generally use our airport. On the right are some corporate business jets. They would all be transient jets, those in this photo. They'd be doing some form of business in the county. These are the ones that we do get the landing fees on. We probably have 300 or so operations of those type of jets a year. Our basic airport is 6,300 feet long, 1,500 feet wide asphalt runway. It handles a Gulfstream 4 aircraft. It's 74,500 pounds, approximately 19 passengers on a typical Gulfstream. We have the pilot-controlled lighting, so at night we don't have the runway lights on all night long burning energy. The pilots coming in can actually activate the lighting on the runway as they approach. And it has a precision instrument landing system and automatic weather station system with the FAA. We supply the information from the weather station goes to Binghamton to NOAA, so they use it in their forecast data. We have aviation fuel available, fixed base operator, and a airport rescue and firefighting truck out there. We have 40 based aircraft at this time out there. 2 jets, as you see, 3 multi-engines, 34 single, and a helicopter. That's the hangar area in the rear in that photo. We have 3 corporate business hangars for Granite, Seno, and private flight maintenance. Fixed base operator hangar is right there. They do the aircraft maintenance, rentals, charter service, fueling, and tie downs. This is part of our instrument landing system in the AWOS, the Automatic Weather Observation Station. That's inside the terminal building. The others are at the end of the runway, assist in landing of aircraft. Grounds and maintenance we do in-house out there. That's our snow removal equipment building on the right with our snow blower and plows that we use to clear the runway, taxiway areas, and around the hangar areas. We do the mowing on 240 acres. We do that. We have 3 employees at the airport, including Mike Mullen behind me, and we use summer help, a lot of times seasonal summer employees to assist with the mowing out there and do work around the terminal and stuff during the season. The community groups, the Civil Air Patrol, the auxiliary for the United States Air Force uses our airport. They have meetings out there. They have a cadet program. They do emergency and aerospace education out there. This has been ongoing for quite a while out there at our airport. The Young Eagles, Chapter 1140 utilizes the airport. They also work with the Boy Scouts at times out there. It's a volunteer, nonprofit organization. Youths can go up and actually get up in flights with volunteer pilots out there. We have over 700 documented flights at this time out there for youth. The terminal building, photo of that right here. We've got a grant recently from the dormitory of the state of New York for actually doing rehab work to the siding, which we're actually going to do a vinyl siding on it. The painting has been ongoing issue out there, so we'll take care of that. And stonework, and that should go this year. It's about, I believe the grant's $175,000 we received for that. It's considered as a gateway to the county. They want to do beautification on it, is how we got that grant. We've done some recent interior improvements. The terminal has been painted, the floors have been cleaned and sealed. Furniture work, the cafe area is open again now, and we have a pilot's lounge. In 2001, New York State DOT commissioned a study on the airport to see what the impact of various airports throughout the state have on the county as a whole. Sullivan County was shown to have an impact of $4.75 million and approximately 58 jobs generated as a spin-off of having the airport in the county. Some of the local places that use the county quite a bit are Chapin. There's summer camps that use it. Stage Store Manor actually does quite a few flights in throughout the year, bringing people in to perform. Bethel Woods, the Monticello Motor Club. We do have Light Flight emergency helicopter is there a lot during the winter and bad weather. We keep that. They keep the helicopter there. And if we have potential for casinos, anticipate more usage there. This is a graph done of the annual operations at the airport versus the fuel cost. You can see as the fuel has increased in price, we did have a drop in operations. We were up over 35,000 operations a year. We're currently kind of leveled off right now at about 25,000 operations a year as the price of fuel went up.
I'm sorry, did you?
Yes.
I don't understand that
Yep.
slide.
The fuel cost is dollars per gallon on the left,
Uh-huh.
and that's the red line.
Right.
So you can see the red line increasing by 2005, 6, 7,
More
8.
people bought gas.
That's the
Gas
cost of
was
gas.
sold.
No, that's
Price
the price
of
per
gas.
gallon
Okay.
of gas. So it started at, in 2005, approximately just under $3.50 a gallon.
Uh-huh.
By 2010, it was $5.50 a gallon.
Okay.
And it peaked out in 2012 at just over 6. It's actually come down again a little bit in 2013. On the green now, if you look at the green, that's the number of operations, takeoffs and landings that we had at the airport. In 2005, say it was just over 30,000, 32,000 operations a year. Then it stayed kind of level, but as the price of gas went up, you can see there was a decline in that to today's, we're about 25,000. We're
So
kind
we're
of
saying
leveled
less
out in there.
people came because the gas cost went up? Is that what we're
There
saying?
was less
now?
flights in that, yes. It did affect the flights just like it affected probably all forms of travel and vacation and driving. Our next slide is our landing fee schedule. For a jet aircraft, it's $100 per landing. The single engine turboprops are $50 and the charter aircraft are $30.
And hold on, are these fees comparable to Orange County? Because I know one
Yes.
time there was talk about, should we raise the fees? Okay.
Yeah, we've looked around it. They're actually higher.
Ours are higher, okay.
Last year, we generated about $17,580 in landing fees at the airport. Some of the recent projects we've completed out there, this is our new airport rescue and firefighting facility. That was a funded project that was completed last year. A big one that we have that Alan and I have worked on for many years in the past is we have a new water distribution system out there at in excess of 70 gallons a minute, which is servicing the terminal, and we can service the IDA area now, the industrial development area, which in the past, as everyone knows, we couldn't bring in a lot of companies. We didn't offer firefighting protection, sprinkler systems in any of the buildings, so we had a lot of companies interested, and when they would find that out, they'd move off to somewhere else. We'd actually looked at connecting to the town of Liberty, but the cost was in excess of $6 million to connect into that water system because of the distance from the airport. We
It's
also got,
miraculous we found that.
yes,
You got that well.
we punched a lot of holes in the ground out there over the years in order to find water, but this finally worked out. We got a new, actually, airport rescue and firefighting vehicle this year. Our other one was in excess of 20 years old. We will take that truck out of service and make it a plow truck at this point. Low mileage on it, just an older truck. This year we are also working on rehabbing the county 5-bay T hangar and a perimeter roadway for security and checking the perimeter of the airport. That'll be a gravel roadway around the outside, not a paved roadway. These are our 2013 budget numbers, our operating appropriations, where salaries and benefits are actually the largest expense we have out there. We're running on pretty much bare bones in everything else. Utilities, capital transfer, maintenance, everything else was about $389,000. On the revenue side, we get money from landing fees, fuel sales, and lease agreements, land lease, and the cafe. We totaled out about $59,282 last year in that, so the net appropriation to offset that's about $330,000 out of the budget. That's pretty much a broad overview of the airport. Some of the things we're looking at right now, we're trying to purchase one of the hangars, the 15-bay hangar that we have funding for. We are doing, as we discussed, rehab of the 5-bay county hangar, and we are actually looking for any ways to make money out there since we have a lot of property surrounding the airport. We are looking at doing some logging out there, sustainable yearly logging, 25,000 depending on the price of logs right now. We have Forrester looked at it. We've actually held off a little bit because the price of timber had dropped, so we didn't see any reason to do it till the price is now rebounding, so we're considering that again now. So, there we go.
Okay, so there was some discussion last month about, do we feel the airport is an asset to people of the county? I believe it is, especially with the potential of casinos coming. I absolutely believe we must now have an airport. Hopefully it'll even make it, will enlarge it, but any questions from the legislators now that you see the presentation about, and the federal grants, Ed, the money we get from the federal?
We have a 5% on the federal, right, and 10% on the New York State, unless it is a safety.
Safety is 100%.
Safety is 100% funded.
And once we receive the grants, we are obligated to keep the airport for 20 years, is that what?
The airport has to operate open to the public for 20 years.
20 years.
General aviation.
Are the grants, they're not operating cost grants, they're capital improvement grants?
They're capital.
And are we, what extent are we going after the grants that are available? Or are there grants that are available, but that would just be too much?
For operating?
Extra work? No, I'm talking about, like, are we, say
We're
there's.
actively pursuing grants all the time. Yes, we have, under our 5-year program, we have 5 years worth of work proposed to the FAA.
So there's only 2 departments, one from the feds and one from the state, that provide grant funding. It's not like you can try a bunch of different, like.
No, those are the 2 that are primarily associated with the airport, although we did get from DASNY, as you see on there, to do some rehab work to both the terminal. We had leaking, they're taking care of flashing work and that, and the stone work and correcting some leaks and doing siding on the actual terminal
And
to
that's a new
reduce.
source of financing. Have we used DASNY before?
No,
Okay, that's the dormitory authority?
Yep.
So that's coming
DASNY
from
to
Aileen, yeah.
yeah, to Aileen's office, she was very instrumental in helping us with that.
And why are we buying the hangar?
We can actually then rent out the hangar space and get positive cash flow income from that. The first year, if we buy the 15-bay T hangar, we ran through some numbers, Mike and I, there would be an offset, the cost of it, and we wouldn't be obtaining lease money from the current owner of the hangar. It is a full hangar, it's 15 bays, all the bays are rented. But we should turn around and be 30+ thousand to the good as a revenue source if we take that in and act as landlord and rent those out ourselves.
So right now, somebody else owns it.
And they
we
lease it
lease-
to us. We lease the land to them, and they have the hangar on it. They wanna sell the hangar. It has 15 bays in it that are full right now. We can then buy that, and then we can lease out those 15 bays.
Alan?
I never thought of this question to this moment, but we sell a lot of fuel there at the airport, and there's, of course, fuel tax. Is that broken out as a distinct revenue source for the airport?
Yeah, what we do is the fixed base operator actually sells the fuel. We have a 10 cent a gallon, 12 cent a gallon now, it went up in his last lease, 12 cent a gallon fuel flowage fee.
Okay.
So when they bring in 1,000 gallons, we get money right off the top.
Okay.
That's paid to the county.
That's good.
We don't run the operation itself of doing it.
Okay, did any other of my colleagues want to make any comments about the airport? Because I'm going to open it up to public comment, because I know there are some people here on a time constraints, and then we'll go with the resolutions. Alan? Yes.
I
Go
was
ahead,
just
Alan.
Yeah.
He was thinking that along, well, we still get sales tax on top of that, right? The
county does.
So we get the surcharge, but then we get sales tax on fuel.
Yeah, that doesn't come directly into us.
Report that to go through.
Yeah.
All right, so there is additional revenue that comes to the county
Yeah,
But the.
from the airport, but it doesn't reflect in the airport's revenues. So I just wanted to
Correct.
make that.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'm going to open up to public comment for those of you who have Ron.
Thank you, Kathy. I have to leave in a little bit, so appreciate it. You know, when I heard that you were looking into selling the airport, it concerned me, and I certainly understand the worry because of the fees that are attended. You know, last time I was here, it was, you know, the budget, and approaching the budget almost had an air of desperation as far as I was concerned anyway. And so I could see why we would consider it. But these airports are kind of like seaports, as Sam has said in the past. They're very rare commodities. They just don't grow on trees, and they're very expensive to put together. And as a result, they can draw a lot of income, business, commerce. And I would point back to about 8 years ago, before the bubble burst. There was a company that was expanding. It was a BizJet company out of Virginia, very going concern operating around the DC area. And they wanted to expand because this airport is so close to Teterboro, New York, it'd be easy just to hop down 5 minutes to Teterboro and conduct their business and base the planes here, which would produce a lot of jobs. I mean, even the mechanics were making $60 an hour, and not counting the pilots. And so they actually did contract with the county. And there were a lot of other businesses looking into basing themselves right along adjacent to the runway, air cargo and certain other types of businesses. But then the bubble burst. You know what happened? It has been smooth sailing. But I understand we're getting towards the other end of the the recession. And I see things, you know, I spend some time out there, you know, I have a little airplane there, and I see some of the stuff that goes on. And with Bethel Woods, there's a lot of business popping in and out. It's seasonal. And the same with the Monticello Motor Club. Heck, I was out there one day on this beautiful G4 Grumman aircraft. This fellow popped in, I was talking to the pilot. The owner came in from Kuwait to spend the day at the motor club, then he was gonna buzz off to London for the evening, you know? And there's a lot of money that the airport attracts. And here we are. You know, I have some money in stocks, not a lot, and I don't handle it. I don't trust me with that. But my broker, whenever we're moving things, he always says, buy low, sell high. And we're here now on the verge. Could it be that casinos are coming? You know, and that would offer an influx in a 12-month-a-year influx. And this airport poised in that position, while now it's, you know, we're looking at it like, oh, jeepers, we're losing money. On the other hand, should that come in and the other businesses attended with it, it could turn into a real moneymaker. Not to mention, if you wanted to sell it on the other end, you could sell high. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention, try to take the long view. In the legal business, when you got a good case going and you blow it at the last minute, they call it snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory. You know, and that's about what we could be doing now if we sold ourselves short. So I just wanted to tell you that, you know, I'm glad you guys are sitting where you are and you're the ones doing the voting. But, and my little airplane's gonna stay there regardless, you know, who owns it. They're not moving the runway. But I think, that's just a perspective that I would wish you would consider and just kinda, you know, what do they say? If you feel an urgent need to act, don't. But when you feel this calm assurance, that's when you do it.
Thank you, Ron, for your
Thank you,
comments.
Kathy, thank you all. I
Appreciate
gotta
it.
run. I'll see you. Good to visit.
Good luck in court. Anybody else wanna, and your name, please?
Bob Ratner.
Microphone.
I wanted to give you a perspective of the airport from a user like Ron. Ron and I were partners in an airplane way back, and from a taxpayer's point of view, and from someone who I've spent the last 25 years up there. A little bit about myself. I'm a retired crane operator. I work for a living. I have I'm 66 years old, so I'm collecting Social Security, and I got a small pension with the operating engineers. I've owned an aircraft, a small aircraft like Ron has, for the last 25 years. One of the reasons I can afford to be up there and have an aircraft is I have a couple other partners with me in the airplane. I don't own it by myself. Both of them are county residents all their lives. They're not rich. They just chose to do that instead of bass fishing or bowling. And if you divide it up like that, you can have a plane and enjoy it. There's, I think, 19 other hangars up there similar to the one that I have. And I know most of the owners, and I didn't meet the affluent ones. They're all like me. This image of the airport being the playground for the rich people, it's not valid. You can't prove it. In dollars and cents, I bought a hangar, or bought a lease for a hangar 25 years ago. It's up in 5 years. I paid $25,000 for it. It's 40 by 40. That's what it is, 40 by 40. In 5 years, the county owns it, and it's gonna be up there to be, you guys have it to rent it out again. You can make another, I mean, you can generate income from that. I pay $1,400 a year taxes on that 40 by 40 hangar. So it's 40 by 40 for $1,400. In that, there's about $300 to $350 I pay for garbage, and I don't have any garbage, but it's a piece of property, so the county gets it. I'm a member of the local EAA chapter that you saw out there that does the Young Eagle rides, and I've been doing that with Sue and Ron and John and for the last, since 1993, and we've given it about 800 kids now an opportunity to fly out of there. Doesn't cost them anything, and it brightens their horizons. They can see that they can do something, and it encourages them. It's good for them. And as long as I'm on that point, I just want to take this time to publicly thank the Public Works Department, its Commissioner Ed McAndrews, Mike Mullen, and the gang out there at the airport that help us every year. They just make it work for us. I also like to point out that several of the kids that have had that opportunity, local kids, have gone on to do some pretty nice things. Noah Collins from Mountaindale graduated out of Annapolis, flying off aircraft carriers, defending the country. Matt Fox, Bethel, started there when he was 14, went to work for Boeing. Adam Nesbadowski, Doc Nesbadowski's son, is flying Cobra helicopters for the U.S. Army. All came out of here, your kids. Work here. I won't bore you too much longer. My personal feeling is I believe that the county-owned airport is one of the finest in the state, and it's extremely important for the transportation infrastructure of the county. And it should be looked at at least from that perspective. The only major access we have to get in and out of the county is Route 17, 97 and 52, but that's it. You don't have any trains, you don't have any planes, you don't have any subways, no boats. I think the county airport is equally important to the farmer in the western part of the county, the second homeowner that wants to enjoy the beautiful environment, or the entrepreneurs who want to invest in the opportunities, like as Ron said, seems to be on the horizon. It's an infrastructure that will help our county grow. And any major development in our county will most certainly be enhanced by this facility being recognized as the critically vital asset it is. And contrary to some of the negative recent publicity about the airport has received, this legislature should embrace, nurture, and tout this airport as the gem that it is.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, and your name?
I'm John Nichols. Most of you know me. I ran the fixed base operator at the airport for 20 years, from 1993 until pretty much pretty recently. In the height of my business there, I employed 9 people, myself included. The airport afforded me the opportunity to come back to Sullivan County, graduate of Liberty High School. Been a Liberty resident my entire life. So the airport enabled me to come back to this area, start a business, run a successful business. I was able to build a new home in this county, stay in this county. When I was there, my employees were all, for the most part, all Sullivan County residents. They were able to stay in the county, buy cars in this county, buy everything in this county. One comment you fellas made about the sales tax, which most people don't know. When somebody buys an airplane and bases it in Sullivan County, we get our 4% sales tax on that aircraft. You bring one corporate aircraft into this county, such as Alan Gary did, what's 4% of 40 million?
I'd like to, never mind.
But that's not just corporate airplanes. Ron Hyatt has airplane, Bob bought his airplane. Susan, everybody that buys an airplane bases here in Sullivan County has to pay sales tax on that airplane. The budget that you're talking about was paid for multiple times on one single corporate jet aircraft. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's an asset of this county. I would not be living in Sullivan County if it wasn't for that airport. And neither would some of my employees that have worked for me. Over the years, I've probably employed 40 different local residents. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah.
Oh, Mark?
So, I
Say your
mean,
name, please.
Mark Baez, Sullivan County Partnership CEO. I mean, I can't think of a better way of framing this than what Ron Hyatt did before. But I want to give you a picture of what some of the efforts have been over the years. And being so close right now, with Alan working and Mike on the water infrastructure. Water was a major issue for us 10 years ago, trying to get people over at the IDA industrial park there. So we had tulip growers that wanted to come in from Holland. We had people that grew roses that wanted to come in from South America, and we were very close. And we got to the point where, okay, if we come here and we build this hangar, what happens if there's a fire? Or what happens, and a whole host of other different things. So there has been quite a bit of interest there. And at this point, I know that the current fixed base operator is being really aggressive, and they have some things going on in terms of partnering with different folks from other parts of the state. The pressure in the lower part of the New York State for space, for getting out of the congestion of Teterboro or anywhere else in the tri-state area, and coming here and using our facilities much more relatively easier than they would be at somewhere else for maintenance, for mechanics, and those sorts of things. It's certainly a target area that we can attract. So let's assume that we put the casino issue aside for just a second. Well, the Varia project over at Kutcher's, the Lifestyle Management Center, is certainly going to attract a certain level of clientele that are most likely going to use that airport as well. So we're getting very close. We're at a turnaround point, I think, in the county. I believe by the end of this year, we're going to start to see things moving much more quicker. We're also looking at an potential expansion project over at the industrial park. Now it's starting to get legs as well. I think we're going to make movement there also. I would like to finalize this with one thing. Mike Mullen has been an absolute wonderful economic development partner for me at the partnership. Every time we've had a client, every time we've needed something, we call Mike Mullen, can you do this? And he's there all the time. Do you have maps? Can we show this? What about the water? What about the tarmac? What about any issue that comes up? And so the support staff DPW has put there has been great. Unfortunately, the economy and some other things have really kind of held us back. I think we're very close. This is an important and critical economic development asset for Sullivan County, and I implore you to continue to embrace this, grasp your hands around it, invest in it to the extent that you can, and grow this airport to the point that we've always thought that it could be in terms of its potential economic development, future. Thank you.
Sam?
Just one thing for Mark, years ago when I worked in Westchester County, you went out to Westchester County Airport on a Friday or a Sunday night and looked at the activity going to Atlantic City, to the casinos. They would use Westchester as a way of feeding their clients down to the Atlantic City Airport. We're comparable to the Atlantic City Airport once casinos come here. Any casino operator is gonna use it to a great extent to bring in customers to that casino. And you could stay at Westchester on a Friday or a Sunday night, Sunday coming back, Friday going out, and it was incredible the amount of traffic that the casinos themselves generated at the airport.
Alan,
By
yes,
roads.
Yeah. I endorse everything that Mark Baez has just talked about and everything that's been said here this morning. I just wanted to add also that if you factor in these hangars, I believe that there's about 30 hangars, and understand that over the years they have been paying real estate taxes on all levels, meaning school, county, and town taxes. That's another source of income that the county airport and the operation of the airport has provided in Sullivan County. But I can boil everything down in this conversation to saying that the continuation of our investment and the commitment to the operation of the Sullivan County Airport represents a commitment to the future of economic growth in Sullivan County, especially now when it's so timely. And I urge you all to continue your support for the airport. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment? State your name, please.
Bob Lord, I represent Private Flight Maintenance. It's a fixed base operator and maintenance provider at the airport. And certainly the partnership that owns my company believes in the future of this airport as a gateway to Metro New York area, as others have in the past. It will be dependent, of course, on national economic growth and health. But that's one of the reasons why we're here. We recently concluded a partnership agreement with two men who operate a Cirrus Aircraft Service Center in Montgomery. And they're going to transfer their maintenance activity to our maintenance hangar at Sullivan County, which is going to serve to increase fuel sales. It'll be good for us. It'll increase traffic. It'll introduce the airport to a lot more people. So we think that's positive. We're positive about it. No matter how empty the skies are when it snows.
It's a big move. That's a great move.
Okay, any more public comment? Okay, so I want to thank those who come and share their thoughts about our airport, and I hope my colleagues feel a little more comfortable now knowing that airport services a great deal of issues for all our taxpayers and constituents. So thank you for those who are welcome to leave now if you'd like. We're going to move on to the resolutions. Tom, you're not speaking today, huh?
Nah, that's
I'm sure you can. Okay, the first resolution is to authorize the terms of a lease agreement with a third-party landowner for a communication tower which will provide emergency services within the county.
I'll move it.
Cora, Allen, any discussion?
I'm sorry, Alan's not on this committee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Kitty.
I really wanted
Cora and Kitty. Okay, any questions? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. The second resolution is to authorize a agreement with construction inspection services for the Sullivan County Community College road improvement. I need a motion. Scott, Kitty second. Ed, did you want to say anything about this one?
Yeah, this is one we're doing. It's an FHWA-funded off-system project. It's called off-system. It's actually one we have. The first one we've completed a design in-house completely without any outside consultant, so we get actual reimbursement for our time doing the design. We did not hire a consultant for this design process. But for the construction inspection, we will have a company out there to do that.
Okay.
That's what this agreement is for. The work should be conducted this late spring, early summer out there.
And the college doesn't kick in anything?
No, not on this project.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed?
7-0.
And the third resolution is to authorize the TAP grant application for the Sullivan County Renaissance for the master plan and the site maintenance for the Sullivan County Government Center complex. Scott, Ira, Ed, you wanna just talk about that briefly?
Yeah, we met with Sullivan Renaissance, talked to them. We want to do a master plan to beautify around the government center. I mean, the large concrete pots are nice.
However.
And I must say, actually,
Better when they're full.
yes, we have some staff down there that does put a lot of effort into putting the flowers in there and on their own time working on those to keep them. So I'm not trying to detract from that, but they also agree we can probably do better and make it a much nicer one. So what we want to do is a master plan this year and then implement that plan over the upcoming years. And maybe in phases, we'll see how the plan comes out and in what order we'll do that. But I think it's a good project.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank
Can I
you.
just make a comment?
Sure,
Yes.
Cora.
In the Ag and Sustainability meeting, I believe you were there, right?
I
And
was.
where there was a proposal, is that person to be included in this conversation?
We can talk to them. Right now, we have planning on board with us, but we can go further with that.
Otherwise, they'd be out of sync with what's going on if they're not.
Yeah, they'd have to be, if we were gonna go that way, they'd have to be involved also.
Or if you're not, just so that they're
Yeah,
aware that
yeah,
this
so-
is a comprehensive plan.
Right.
I'm brain dead to that thing. Okay, Ed, did you have a report? Anything else you wanted to bring up?
Mr. Cutler?
I mean, before I go to
No,
him?
no.
In his report, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay.
I'd like to know what's going on with Bridge 45 in Fallsburg.
Bridge 45 in Fallsburg. Our design is essentially complete. We're doing work right now with power companies to move some lines. We are trying to get New York State DOT to go into the construction phase of it and give us the money to actually do the construction. We're
Behind
at,
the money.
there's 3 phases to these, and your preliminary design, then your right-of-way acquisitions, then your construction phase. They have not committed the funding to the construction phase as yet. We're still pushing for them and hoping they can do it this year. We've been trying to get them to do that. But as of right now, they haven't. If they don't do it soon, it will be a next year project. It may start late in the season, but it'll go over an extra year then.
Was that bridge flagged, Ed?
Oh, that bridge has got some issues.
Oh.
It's got a lot of issues.
That's why they
Where
actually.
is that?
Where in Fall?
Old Falls.
Yeah, Old Falls, right across from Stewart's on
Right
County
off of
Well,
Road.
there's a lot of
42.
traffic on that road too. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very busy
It's a
road.
bus-
It's the main road between the town of Liberty and the town of Wawarson.
Yeah, the concrete's in really bad shape on that.
Okay, well, don't say too much
And-
about it then.
And I go over it every day.
Yeah, no, it's still.
Oh, well,
it's-
wait a minute.
Yeah, you
I'm not sure
guys
we
might
would
wanna
fix
leave
it.
it the way it is.
When it becomes unsafe, we would close it. I mean, it is safe for traffic, but.
Oh, then I
it's
gotta come down to
definitely-
Denison Hill.
Yes.
Special pass.
Ari, can you wait till later before you, okay.
Badges, I don't need no stinking
It's
badges.
not that often that Mike comes, Mike, I wanna thank you
Thank
again,
you.
I very often get compliments of the great job you do at the airport, so thank you for all your work, and we appreciate it.
We've been planning
And Bill,
to
you
bring
are up.
that in all.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Recycling's had a pretty busy month. We're in the process right now of finalizing our household hazardous waste collection event specifications, and we're looking very tentatively at a Saturday, August 2nd event date. The event times to be 12:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m.
Okay.
And those dates are flexible yet. If the committee would like to add, subtract, or multiply any of those dates, we certainly can take that into consideration. Absolutely. Last year, we had 100 households participating in the 2013 one-day event, and we expect to see numbers equal to or even greater than that again this year for the one-day event. Recycling updates this past month, February, we collected 358.89 tons of material, and revenue generation was $16,984.47. The tonnage was actually about 70 tons ahead of the same period, January, February 2013.
So all that snow.
Well, the snow, well, yeah, perhaps. We think the numbers actually would have been a bit higher had we been able to ship more of the tonnage we had available, but the snow kind of kept us
Okay.
in bay. Our revenues were down slightly from last year, however. That we're down about $6,959 in sale of materials, and that could also be reflected in the ability of not being able to move some of those added tons that we have sitting in storage right now. So we expect as the weather improves, we'll see that curve rebound and we'll be able to ship out materials. Our electronic scrap program status right now, we received 4 bids on February 28th. We've reviewed those bids. We have an apparent low bidder at this point and a bid award pending a couple of final concerns about packaging and shipping will be addressed momentarily. And that'll probably appear here in the next week. The vendor at this point will be collecting both the covered electronic equipment, which are the CRTs and mixed electronic scrap specified by New York State, as well as fluorescent bulbs and household toxic batteries. That's a little bit of a unique program for us. The state technically allows folks to return their rechargeable batteries back to vendors, such as stores. We've had a long-term collection program, and with not very many vendors here available in Sullivan County, the public has really expressed an interest to be able to bring those batteries into our recycling stations, drop them off, and know that they're going to be reclaimed safely and not end up somewhere causing environmental problems down the road.
What's the price of scrap metal? Is it up?
Right now, it's about stable. We're still about halfway through our current bid period, and that number, and don't quote me on an exact figure, but I think it's about $251 per ton.
For next month's meeting, could you give us like the last 2 years, what we've collected from it? And
Absolutely.
Okay, would you mind?
Sure.
Okay.
No problem. And let's see, last but not least, we've got a bunch of upcoming recycling events pending. Next week, March 20th, Master Gardeners, we're doing an embedded intensive compost workshop. So we're going to talk about all different styles and types of composting for the Master Gardener project here in the county. These are volunteers that are going to be fanning out over subsequent months and years in Sullivan County to do all kinds of great sustainability and planting projects, beautification projects, workshops. And the more folks out there knowledgeable about composting and materials management, the better off we're all going to be. So it's a really a win-win-win program. We can get boots on the ground preaching composting, and it doesn't cost us anything. It's a nice program.
Did the legislators get an invitation to that? Can you shoot us up a reminder date and time so in case want it?
Sure,
Anne Marie, would you mind? Okay.
I'll shoot something to Anne Marie, absolutely. And Susan Dollard from Cooperative Extension chairs that program, and she's been doing a nice job with it.
Okay.
We have a prescription drug task force meeting coming up at Public Health next week.
Okay.
And I understand there's been some updates already given to committee from that. April 22nd, of course, is Earth Day, and April's Earth Month, and in fact, every day is Earth Day here in Sullivan County. So we take that very seriously. And we'll be having an event at the Western Sullivan Public Library Callicoon branch. That's going to take place on Saturday, April 5th at 1 p.m. And that'll be a waste reduction seminar, again, recycling, composting, all kinds of materials management stuff, waste reduction education. School groups are welcome. It'll be a fun day. Just got a word yesterday, May 17th, the Livingston Manor Lark group is going to be sponsoring us for a compost workshop, and we'll bring all kinds of props and information along as well. Again, recycling, composting, waste reduction. We can talk a little bit about sustainability as well, and it's going to be a great turnout. Lastly, May 21st, Liberty Rotary Club sponsoring us again for a composting recycling workshop, and we'll deliver the full Monty to them as well. It's a fun group. And that's what I have for the month.
I think, do we need to do a resolution for the August 2nd date? Or, I think that's a good date because this way we'll still have some of the people will be here so they can, they'll have the opportunity to bring their hazardous waste stuff to the, okay, so do we need a resolution for that, Ed? Or can we just tell them yes? Josh?
I'd have to check, I don't know
Okay.
if the old
If you need a resolution, bring it to
authorizes
next,
extensions or
it's
not.
still bring it to next month's meeting and we'll vote on it.
Yeah, we
I think we
usually
do,
for that
yeah.
expenditure, we
Right,
usually have a
okay.
resolution.
For August, okay.
Next month, we'll go over to, we are gonna do a litter pluck
Good.
in April, so we'll kinda update you
Okay.
on that coming up.
As long as
in
the
our-
snow's gone.
Cora.
We're hoping.
I have a question, actually. If this is the correct committee, there, over the weekend at the Sullivan Renaissance Expo, one of the exhibitors was telling me about something that they've worked out with Walmart, where they're doing composting with them, and you know about this already.
Yeah.
So is this the right committee? I didn't know if it was this or Ag and Sustainability, because I thought it would be a good, kind of a different approach to what we're trying to do here in Sullivan County. I'm hoping someday we will be able to emulate Delaware County with their composting operation. We're a long way away from that, but the fact that you've got one of the largest retailer outfits in the world interested in doing something locally in Sullivan County, so
That's, yeah, we can certainly discuss that in here, because we need that in our solid waste management plan. Also
Okay.
includes composting, and Bill has been definitely on top of that for a long time.
But you know who I'm talking about, right?
I do.
Okay, so I'll give you their card and then you can ask them to.
Yeah.
I
And-
appreciate that.
And Delaware counties, I don't think will ever quite be, theirs is in more rural farming than ours is at this point, and if we're going into more, with casinos and stuff, we may actually move away a little bit from what Delaware County's base is to do their type of system, and more into the type of system actually with Walmart and that they're
Well, I think
proposing
that's
there.
the interesting
I think
thing
that's
about
actually
Sullivan County
an
is that-
improvement.
Yeah, I agree. Anything that's an improvement, I'm happy for. I think that's what we have to find when we are sort of, we take the best from Orange and Ulster and Greene and Delaware, because Sullivan County is so diverse
Mhm.
geographically.
Ira, you had your hand up before, did you?
Yeah, regarding Bridge 45,
Yeah.
do you recall whether or not the ban that we just did contemplated some of that money for that bridge specifically, or is it included in the $9 million
I believe there is.
long-term borrowing we're
I think it's
supposed
in
to-
the long-term debt.
For
I
this
gotta
year.
check and see, and we're still trying to get that done this year. We're still pushing for the state to actually do it. It's an upfront cost, and that would be a direct reimbursement. I mean, that's one where we have to do the upfront cost. That's why it would be put under that, and then we would be getting paid back as we build the bridge, so. Yeah, but I believe it was put under LT, I'm pretty sure, so. I don't think under the.
I don't really know what the status is. I know there's some discussion about that bond and whether it's gonna be reduced or not, or how much we're actually gonna borrow, but it seems to me that could be taken into consideration. If we're not gonna need that money till next year, we can borrow it next year.
Yeah, we don't know the answer to that just yet. And if they give it to us in like 3 months, you know, we're trying to get an answer out of them at this
Okay.
point.
Okay, any other comment? Motion to adjourn?
Fine.